Okay, so without further ado, we are going to introduce our first speaker. She is from a great organisation called Afford UK. So we're going to introduce Elvina to the stage. Thank you. Let's clap for her. She comes up. So Elvina's going to tell us a little bit more about what Afford UK do.
Thanks very much for inviting us at Afford to come and share with you today. And your initiative sounds really good, but can I just add that as much as being creatives, there is also space for entertainment lawyers and entertainment accountants, so they can still merge their interests. So like some of that up here would be great as well, to give people a nice spectrum. And so that's pretty much some of what we do at Afford. Afford is the African Foundation for Development. We've been around for 25 years this year. And it's a space really that was created to help the African diaspora communities in the UK, and it's grown to Europe and pretty much globally, connect and increase the impact that they have with their home countries or other countries of interest within Africa. At first it was a space that people like me, when I was younger and trying to figure out identity in X, Y and Z, were able to connect with diaspora community and understand a bit more about who and what my own identity and background was, and it's grown to look at how we can do things practically, and we focus a lot on job creation, and that has led us to supporting and working with entrepreneurs, as I said, here and globally, with projects in Nigeria, Rwanda, Zimbabwe and Sierra Leone, and a lot of work being done in Ghana as well as Ethiopia and some other countries. So in essence, Afford has done a lot of work raising awareness with the UK government on supporting the initiatives of diaspora communities here in the UK in different ways. So looking at younger people, we had initiatives where people volunteered to go to home countries or countries that we were working with. And the volunteering work that we did wasn't in terms of like going to build wells and stuff. It was looking at what skills and expertise do you have and how can you share that with people in the particular countries we were working with. And for that project it was Nigeria and Ghana. So you're working with other small businesses there. The project I run is called the Afford Business Club, and it came out of a bigger project called the Diaspora Finance Initiative, which is looking at the fact that diaspora send more money to Africa than Africa receives in aid.
Okay.
Oh, is that to me?
Oh, no.
Okay. Then Africa receives in aid. So it's like if we're spending that amount of money home, how can we better utilise that so that it has a really lasting impact? And the impact we really need to see is around infrastructure, roads, electricity, power, and in job creation, so that people are able to live out their own life dreams and do the things that they want to do with the structures available. So one of the things that we're doing is setting up a bond, which is the Rwanda Diaspora Bond, and that's going to, money raised from that will give people a good return and also help to build affordable housing in Rwanda. And we also supported 20 businesses focused on Nigeria, Rwanda, Zimbabwe and Sierra Leone through a business plan competition. They received a grant of £30,000, which they matched funds with 25%. And they were able to take their businesses to another level. So we had people doing agriculture, shea butter manufacturing, a tech business has gone over and buy tech. In his case, it's software development. So he's here based in Birmingham, gets contracts here, and he's built up a team in Nigeria who produce the software, the apps. And so he's not only helping his own business grow here, because obviously it's cheaper to do it that way, but he's providing skills, work opportunities, and widening people's experiences in Nigeria. So that's some of the work we do. And for £60 for the year, you're able to get discounted services like our business advisors. You get free legal consultations a month with an international law firm we work with in Moorgate, and that's 30 minutes free a month. And this firm is huge. It's called Morrison and Forster. You can Google it. Like, them an hour is ridiculous. So that's really good that they want to work with us to support the businesses. We're based in the Rich Mix building in Shoreditch. So we're able to provide discounted space. So if you wanted to do a workshop, we've got a room that can take up to 25 people, theatre style, and about 16 classroom and small meeting space. We do hot desking for those who just want a space separate to work from at discounted rates again. And we're just constantly sending out information, resources that will enable you to build your business plan, get assistance on that. Budgeting cash flow is key, looking at how to support people doing that. So it's really looking at what services. So all you need to do is go onto our website, www.afford-uk.org, and then check out the business club, and all our information and links to get membership are all on there.
Thank you. And we're going to get a little bit personal. Elvina. I know you weren't expecting it. But obviously, you've been in this kind of field for quite a while, and so you have a wealth of knowledge. So what inspired you to kind of get into the field of the diaspora and also business help and mentorship?
Okay, good question. Okay, so getting into the diaspora field, I suppose it's really kind of navel gazing, or just trying to figure myself out, because I am diaspora, young Ghanaian, trying to decide, am I here, am I there, where do I fit? And I'd just come back from living in Ghana for a year, got put in touch with Afford, who were doing an actual Young Africans project, which was looking just at this and how we can engage. And so through them, that helped to form my ideas and my career choices. Fast forward a few years, I moved to Ghana, was living there for 4 years, had my own business, which was interesting. When I was coming from a public background of charities, moving into the business sector with no business experience is not the wisest, especially in another country. You need to pay for support. And then I worked with a company, came back to the UK, and brought my business knowledge that I'd now picked up on the ground and brought that to Afford.
Okay, wow. Living in Ghana for 4 years and starting a business in Ghana for the first time with no background knowledge. You are very brave. No, brave, very brave. Obviously in this kind of climate, I guess, and we're not going to mention Brexit, but a lot of people are worried about starting a business altogether, let alone in another country. So what would you kind of say to those who are thinking of starting one, but they're afraid to kind of take that first step since you've kind of been there?
I mean, that's the main thing I think that blocks people, is the fear and trying to figure out how to do it on their own. I mean, there is a world of information online, it's true. You can download templates for almost anything. You can watch stuff on YouTube. But really what you need, at least at certain key points on that business journey, is actual one-to-one advice. And that would be from a business advisor, or if you look in your local area, there's a lot of business support government agencies. So it would be good for you to connect with an expert and speak to them. And if you can budget some money towards it, I would advise it, because free assistance is great, but it's not always what you really need, and it might not be specific to your particular case. And so, case in point, starting a business in this particular climate here in the UK or in Europe, or even more so in Africa, I would actually say that, and a lot of people are looking towards Africa, including the UK government, because there is so much opportunity there, but it is unknown territory, like many new things. And so looking for support so that you can get guidance to stop you making mistakes that are time-consuming, expensive, and just straight-out irritating is key. So my advice would be, have your business idea. Keep in mind, this is what somebody said to me years ago, we're all scared of Africa because of how it's perceived over here. It's corruption, it's wars, it's famine, it's X, Y, and Z. But actually, behind all of that is a whole heap of opportunity if you have the right people to guide you through it. So don't close your minds off. I mean, there is such a thriving creative industry taking off in Africa at the moment. And Nigeria, Ghana, Southern Africa, you've got everything from fashion design, graphic design, music, production, film. It's getting so much support and attention. So think broadly, and then start taking visits, and then doing your reading online and going to events. A lot of stuff takes place just here in London, or Birmingham or Manchester that you can go and get a little taster without having to go off. But begin with getting some expert advice, do your business plan, do your research, take it slow, and then, but don't let fear stop you. Just take your time. And we at Afford are here to help.
Of course, of course. One last question. Now, obviously, this event is for creatives, and I usually find from just observation that the creative mind and the business mind are usually very far apart. And so creatives, I'm a creative, I'm a fashion designer, so my head is sometimes in the clouds, in my designs, in my craft, in my making, and then when it gets to business, the nitty-gritty, I have no clue. And not only do I not have any clue, it's just the fear of the numbers and, you know, the contracts and the terms and the conditions and, you know, all the jargon, and actually trying to marry the two. So in your experience, you know, seeing people come through the business club, how can creatives kind of get into that mind space of, okay, I'm a creative, but I'm also a businessman, I'm also a businesswoman. How can we marry the two so that it can actually be a profitable endeavour for us?
I mean, the first thing is just deciding, do I want to be broke or do I want to actually make money out of what I'm doing? That's gonna help your decision-making process. But we actually just did a roundtable for fashion, and that's not just, that's from fashion design to textile production and so on. And this came up. And so it's been really good to see that the number of fashion designers who are at the event who've joined the business club, because they woke up to the fact that, okay, I'm great on that side, but I need assistance with getting my business side of things straight. And so what we do is when you join, you get a free 30-minute consultation, 1-hour consultation with a business advisor who can just give an overview of where you are and what you want to do. And then after that, we look at what could be the best path to help you reach where you want to go on your journey. So again, it comes down to recognizing your strengths. I am a fashion designer. And then recognizing where you want to fill the gaps that you might have. I need to speak to someone who can just help me get my business plan and business structure correct. An example, somebody we just spoke to is a fashion designer. She'd gone straight out and registered as a limited company. After a session, it was like, you're wasting money, you don't need to do that. Dial it back and register as a sole trader. And then immediately you've just reduced a whole heap of issues in regards to tax and other things, that level of responsibility at the level you are. At the same time, somebody with a business mind can help you even shape your messaging and your positioning as well, which would open up a whole new client base for you. So it's really good at the beginning. Yeah, it's going to be difficult because it's you and your kind of everything. So get some outside assistance, and then that will also help you to be able to map out, all right, when I'm at this point, I need to bring in an accountant. When I'm at this point, I should bring in an assistant or a social media expert or what have you. So I would strongly advise, go to some workshops to begin with, listen to some things on YouTube around business structure. There's a lot of stuff out there for creatives as well. So do look at that. It's boring. It can be boring. When you get into it, it can get quite interesting. But initially, it can be boring. It can be stressful. But it's so essential for you and your business going forward.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Elvina. Do we have a question? Yes, we do have a question. I'm going to try my best to come to you without...
Sorry, it's just because I'm filming at the same time. So you spoke, when you spoke of the creatives that you help, a lot of it was mentioned, a lot that was mentioned was fashion designers and things like that. So, as you know, with this, it's also about other creatives. So creatives go beyond singers, dance, your fashion and things like that. It goes into all different realms. I know you talked about technology as well, but when you have people that are in music, what kind of advice would you give them? Because obviously it's a bit, not easier, but the way they flow is different to how a fashion designer would flow. So a fashion designer will take maybe, depending on how quick they work, it could take them a week or a day for them to create something, whereas someone that's in music could take an hour or a few hours to create or produce quite a few songs. And then obviously they have all their different things that they need to worry about in terms of copyright and stuff like that. So what kind of advice would you give them in terms of how they start and where they should look and go?
So the business club covers core things in-house, and then we work with partners. So when I was mentioning the fashion, we brought fashion experts in from across the board to address the different areas like suppliers, PR, business structure, financing, and let them come and speak to people. So it'd be the same thing for whatever sector somebody's in. So while I don't have the knowledge to be able to answer your question for the music side of things, if we have a member who comes in, we will definitely connect them with those who would be able to assist. The law firm we work with, they would be able to help with things like copyright, contracts, all the legal side of things. So we would get their expertise in. If it was something to do with finances and accounting, we would get that expertise in. So it's definitely looking at where can you connect with, where when you bring your particular problem, they're able to source a solution for you, rather than have you going around and like not being able to do due diligence on everybody or knowing the best people to speak to. That's what we do through the club, is identify the best, most prudent person for you to speak to save you time, energy and money.
So, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Oh, you do have a question. You hold this. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm a videographer / photographer, and I deal with a lot of clients. I'm trying to transcend into getting them off of my WhatsApp and my personal line, and more into the email side of things. Like, what would you say are the pros and cons of that actual transition?
Okay, with the WhatsApp, what's the kind of engagement that you're having there, and is it something? Okay, essentially, you've just got to outline what you want to be recording where. It makes sense that if people are doing bookings or wanting to sort out contracts or wanting to go over terms, it's all on your email. I mean, you can record it through WhatsApp, but to be fair, it's better to separate it, and it's a bit irritating having all of this stuff coming through there. So you can be very clear with your boundaries and state your terms and conditions from the get-go. WhatsApp is for X, email is for this. If you do this, then you can reply and say, thank you, please can you copy this over to my email? Politely, and you just keep doing it until they do it. And it's good for both sides, and especially if you can explain why you want to do it that way, it's not an issue. Everybody's entitled to run their business in the way that best suits them, and if the client's happy with that, fine. If they're not, you negotiate, or they're not your client. So in your transition, just open communication on everything. So if you're WhatsApping, you can reply, but say from here on out, it'll be the email. If they reply, you just reply back via email and help people take the shift. It'll be irritating at first, but try not to let that come through your communication. Always nice, but we're going to talk over here. So I would say that, just a little statement, and then use that consistently with everybody so there's no confusion. Yeah, but it's a good idea to separate the two, particularly anything that could get legalistic, any changes in decisions, any particular lists that they want. Let it all be documented, PDF'd if possible. Like if they're sending you a photograph list, like I want these 20 pictures or whatever, let it be put and in a PDF and sent to you, so you can always refer back. And then it's up to you if you want to put it on your phone as a highlight, but it doesn't have to come through that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Do you have a follow-up question? Or
No, that's it, yeah.
no? Okay. I actually wanted to just touch on that. In that I've been looking for cakes to order recently, and the communication has been very different, even just on Instagram. So some bakers are like no DMs, and then some are like email, and then some are like call or WhatsApp. So it's very specific to each individual, and I guess for me as the consumer or the customer, it can get a little bit kind of confusing and adapting to a way that someone else communicates. But yeah, like you rightly said, you have to do what's comfortable for you.
Because you have to remember, especially now, more so maybe than even in previous times, you've got so many people running portfolio careers. So they might have a job and then they've got the bakery is on the side and then they've got something else on the side. So they can't have people calling all day, or they don't engage with Instagram properly, so they might keep missing the DM. So I agree it can be annoying, but yeah, if you want your business to work, in the first instance, when it's maybe just you need to use a means and a mechanism that's going to help you communicate consistently with your customer. But then as a customer, you can say, is it possible to? And if they say no, it's no. But if they know that's how you communicate and you are actually going to be an actual customer, I think they'll take that on board.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, do you know, just before you go,
Yes.
Do you know, or have you noticed maybe 2 or 3 things that successful businesses that have been running for 3 to 5 years have implemented?
Okay. Yes. So the first thing, and I've mentioned it a few times, is a business plan. You need to have a plan. You need to, at least in the first instances, have an idea of where you're going, who you'll provide, like who is your customer, what is your service, and what is your projected outcome? Like what is it you want to be achieving financially in X period of time? And your financials, that's the second one, are also key. And one of the ones that with all the businesses we've worked on is one of the hardest. We've had people who've been in business, for years, and their books are like, seriously, you've been, like, do you know how much money is coming in and out of your business? And people have no idea. Just the fact that there's a money flow, they think they're making money, but without laying it out and understanding your income to expenditure, how much you're actually subsidizing your business, you might not be running an actual feasible business. You've got like what some people call an expensive hobby. So really understanding your finances is key. Some would say even more so than the business plan. If you've just got like cash flow, income, expenditure, this is how we're going to run, some would say that's enough to run your business. But know your numbers, have a plan, and then source expertise and knowledge. Many businesses who are doing really well have either a business advisor or a business coach or a business mentor, and are part of a business network and community where they're able to network, they're able to share information and knowledge, and they're able to get those referrals, like you were mentioning, like, oh, I'm looking for a lawyer, this person's great. I'm looking for a baker, this person's amazing. And it just helps you cut time. And also they become your advocates and also potentially your clients. So strong business community, business plan, and know your financials inside and out. I think those are your 3 at least go-tos.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Elvina.
Thank
Can we
you.
just give a round of applause
Thank you.
for Elvina at Afford UK? We're going to